Okay, welcome back to the deep dive.
Good to be here.
So we're digging into this CNN article today, the one about that viral video with the Macrons.
Right, Emmanuel and Brigitte Macron, that really short clip that just seemed to, well, explode online.
Exactly. So the plan is, we'll unpack what the source says happened, the moment itself.
Then the official reaction, how they framed it.
Yeah, and then pivot to what makes this article really interesting. This whole layer it adds about online narratives, how the clip was supposedly used, maybe even weaponized politically.
It's a fascinating look at how fast things escalate online, how a tiny moment can get caught up in these, well, much bigger geopolitical narratives, according to the source.
Totally. So let's start with the scene the article describes. We've got the Macrons getting off a plane in Vietnam.
The aircraft door opens, President Macron's there in the doorway, standard arrival stuff.
But then the viral clip, or the short version anyway, reportedly shows Brigitte Macron's hands coming into frame from the side.
Yeah, the article says her hands reach out, press against his face. And online, it looked to a lot of people like a sudden shove. That's the term used.
Right, and the source mentions Macron looks momentarily surprised, just for a split second, then he kind of recovers, waves.
Yeah, smooths it over pretty quickly.
And there's that other detail the article adds about them going down the stairs. He offers his arm,
but she doesn't take it. Reportedly holds the railing instead. May nothing. Maybe part of the picture. It's hard to say just from that.
Okay, so that's the raw moment. Maybe like 5 seconds of video.
Yeah.
That goes viral. So what about the official response? The article says the Elysee initially denied it.
Yeah, that's what the source reports. An initial flat-out denial that the incident even occurred.
Which is pretty awkward considering Macron himself later said the videos were real.
Exactly. So the article notes their position kind of shifted. They stopped denying the footage existed and moved more towards downplaying it, managing the perception.
Reframing it. So what explanations did they offer? The article mentions sources close to the president, the Elysee itself.
Well, yeah, a few different angles reported. One source apparently called it merely bickering, just a couple squabbling.
Bickering, okay.
Then an Elysee source is quoted describing it as a moment of togetherness.
Togetherness. That seems like a bit of a stretch for what looked like a push, but okay.
Well, it's certainly a positive spin.
And there was a third one?
Yeah, another source told CNN it was simply them unwinding one last time before the trip began, playfully teasing each other.
Playful teasing. So the consistent official line basically was, nothing to see here, just a private, lighthearted moment between husband and wife.
Pretty much. That seems to be the narrative they settled on, according to the report.
All right, so that's the Elysee. But then President Macron himself addressed it, right? Speaking to reporters in Hanoi. What did the CNN piece say about his comments?
He basically dismissed the whole fuss. The article says he described the video as showing him joking and teasing his wife, so echoing that official line.
And he seemed pretty annoyed by the reaction online.
Oh, definitely. The article quotes him being quite critical of the speculation. He said something like, this simple moment somehow becomes a sort of geoplanetary catastrophe, with people even coming up with theories to explain it.
Geoplanetary catastrophe, wow. He wasn't holding back.
No, but importantly, he did acknowledge the footage itself.
Right, he didn't deny the video existed.
No, he's quoted saying, the videos are all real. His main point, though, as reported by CNN, was about how it was being interpreted and used.
Okay.
He added that while videos are real, and sometimes they get tampered with, in this case, people were attributing all kinds of nonsense to them.
Attributing nonsense. And this is really the pivot point, this CNN article, isn't it? This is where it gets, like you said, really interesting.
Exactly, because the source doesn't just leave it there as an awkward moment or a marital spat. It explicitly connects the reaction to something else.
It suggests the video was actively used, spun into controversy.
Yes. The article states, quite directly, that pro-Russian trolls were quick to spin the moment into controversy. That's a direct quote or paraphrase from the piece.
Pro-Russian trolls. Okay. And the effect, according to the source,
was that this fed the mills of the conspiracy theorists. It took this small thing and potentially amplified it for other purposes.
And the article provides a reason why Macron might be a target for this kind of thing.
It does. It points out his prominent role in trying to get Europe unified on defending Ukraine after Russia's invasion. So the article implies a motive there, trying to undermine a key figure pushing back against Moscow.
And it doesn't just rely on this one video example, does it? The CNN piece brings up another recent incident involving Macron and alleged disinformation.
That's right. To bolster this idea of a pattern, it details what the article calls the cocaine claim.
Ah, yeah, I remember reading about that. Pretty wild stuff.
Totally. A viral claim, which the article says was amplified by Kremlin officials and traced back to pro-Russian accounts online.
And the claim itself was, what exactly? According to the report.
It falsely alleged Macron was using cocaine on a train, no less. A train to Kiev.
With, wasn't German Chancellor Merz and UK's Keir Starmer mentioned in the report too?
Yes, those names were mentioned in the context of the trip. The claim put him supposedly doing cocaine alongside them.
Okay, and the evidence for this, according to the source, this is the really bizarre part.
The article traces it back to footage of Macron picking up a crumpled tissue. Just a tissue. Which was then somehow spun online into being a bag of cocaine.
A tissue? Wow. That's quite a leap. How did the French government respond to that one?
The Élysée dismissed it as fake news, according to the article. They even posted an online rebuttal.
Oh, they countered directly online.
Yeah, with a photo or video and a caption the CNN piece quotes. This is a tissue for blowing your nose. When European unity becomes inconvenient, disinformation makes a simple tissue look like drugs. Pretty pointed message.
Very direct. Calling out the alleged motive right there. And the article also mentioned a specific Russian official getting involved.
Yes, it names Maria Zakharova, the Kremlin's foreign ministry spokesperson. It says she reportedly fueled the claim, suggesting it showed some kind of wider European dysfunction.
Okay, so pulling these threads together, how did the French officials, quoted or summarized in the CNN piece, view this overall pattern? The shove video, the cocaine claim.
According to the article, they saw these incidents and condemned them as part of ongoing efforts by Moscow.
Efforts to do what, specifically?
To weaken Western unity regarding Ukraine, and also to manipulate peace talks using false stories and social media manipulation. That's the perspective presented in the source.
Right. So let's just recap what the CNN article has laid out for us. We start with this tiny, ambiguous video clip.
Yeah, a few seconds on a tarmac.
Officially explained away as playful teasing, maybe bickering. Macron himself says the video is real, but the reaction is nonsense. But then the article frames this and the separate coconut issue incident within a much larger context.
A context of alleged targeted online disinformation campaigns.
And the source explicitly attributes these campaigns, or their amplification, to pro-Russian actors, linking it all back to the geopolitical situation around Ukraine. It's important we stress the article is reporting these claims and counterclaims, right?
Absolutely. It's presenting the French perspective on these incidents and attributing certain online activity to specific sources based on its reporting. It's showing the narrative that was built around these events.
What this deep dive based on the CNN piece really highlights, then, is the sheer speed and, well, apparent ease with which a very small, maybe even meaningless moment can be taken.
And instantly interpreted, spun, and, according to the article's claims, weaponized online. Especially if there's a pre-existing political tension or narrative it can be plugged into.
It shows the huge contrast between a potentially simple, private interaction and the complex, highly charged interpretation it can receive almost instantly.
And it underscores how, as the article lays out, these seemingly trivial online flare-ups can be presented as part of significant geopolitical maneuvering, touching on things like information warfare and international relations.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? How much viral content starts from something so minimal, maybe even out of context.
And how quickly, as this report suggests, layers of interpretation, political framing, and alleged disinformation can be piled on top.
So maybe the final thought for you listening, based on what this CNN source presents, is about that speed and construction. How quickly can a whole story, a whole narrative be built online from almost nothing?
And perhaps how might understanding the potential for this kind of framing, this geopolitical context the article highlights, change the way you instinctively react to the next viral clip you see involving a major political figure?
Definitely something to keep in mind. It's a reminder to stay critical and maybe dig a bit deeper than the headline or the short clip next time.